like to sit down in something like this and just tell you what's going on. We usually try to do it right before the spring starts, which is now. Our spring starts, even though it's winter time. We usually do it right before summer and then right before we kick off in the fall. So today we are talking about summer stuff, but to set up I want to talk about spring as well and just give you an idea to ask some questions, everything else. What I would ask, if you'll do me one favor, I'm going to give us regular times. I'm going to give us about 4 or 5 times to ask questions. But just so we don't get bogged down and kind of go off on rabbit trails or whatever, if there's any way that if a question comes up, write it down. And then when we have one of those times, you've got it right before you or whatever, and then just let me know. But as much as possible, we'll try to stick to that just so that we're not here till 5 o'clock and you're throwing stuff at me. So just to start, and again, kind of the things that we're going to cover today is spring events. We're going to go over free events and paid events, and summer, our big summer stuff. Then we're also going to go over fundraisers and registration. And I'm really excited about where our Echo Youth Church is going. Really, there's just a lot of stuff that God's laid on my heart, and I had our youth leaders meeting this past Friday, and it was just incredible to see what God's doing. I'm excited to be a part of your teenagers' lives. I do consider it to be an honor, and thank you for letting me do it because I really do enjoy it. So before we get into anything, though, just a couple of disclaimers when we talk about events. I tried to be very on purpose in our scheduling of events this year. With the spring, our goal to win the spring with the teenagers is to do a lot of small events that were little to no cost. The spring is just a time to, in my opinion, to build community, to grow, to celebrate a lot of stuff. But instead of us having a lot of big ticket stuff going on in the spring, I chose instead to do a lot of small stuff that has very little to no cost. And then with the summer, we do our big stuff in the summer. I've had a lot of people who've been here kind of over the years or whatever want to know if I know in the past the church has done a huge winter palooza, like a $200 go skiing and everything else. And this year I just chose not to do it, in the spring. And not because it was bad, it was obviously a great thing. The more I prayed about it, I felt like our strategy was supposed to be, let's do our big stuff in the summer when teenagers are out and they need stuff to do and they need those big experiences, and let's do smaller stuff but just as impactful, but maybe not big on the budget in the spring. Also, too, I just want to say that we do have a no team left behind policy when we talk about these events. So please communicate with me. If you see something and mentally you're sitting there going, man, I don't know if my team can do that because of finances or whatever, please communicate with me. There's no embarrassment. And it's like I said, I can't help you if I don't know. And one of my few frustrating times, and I've been here for a year, and this has happened maybe only 1 or 2 times, is I found out after the fact that a teenager didn't go to an event just because the parents were concerned about finances, and I didn't know about it until after the fact, and I'm banging my head against the wall or whatever, because the last thing in the world I want as a youth pastor is for us to do these incredible events, which are so much fun and everything else, and then your team is sitting at home. I don't want to do that, so please communicate with me. I will work with you in whatever capacity I can. I would hope that you would consider me a partner with you because and somebody that you can come and talk to, because that's what I want it to be. So again, as we talk about these things or whatever, please know, just communicate with me and let me know. All right? So cool? Good? All right, so let's start with our spring events. And really, these are the free events that we've got coming up. These are 0 cost that we're going to be doing in the spring. And let me just tell you what they are. Let me get the gum out of my mouth first, sorry. God laid on my heart back in the fall or whatever, and I don't know if you visited with us on a Wednesday night or if you've heard anything that goes on Wednesday night. We have so many teenagers that visit us on a Wednesday night that we never see on a Sunday morning. We do. And it's crazy because you would think that this stuff would happen because our teens were just incredibly evangelistic, but And we got some that are, but as a whole, I would not consider our teenagers incredibly evangelistic. But what's great is that our teenagers are just coming, and they're hearing about it, and they'll come on a Wednesday night and try it, and they just kind of stick around, and it's great, and we love having them. With that, though, however, is a lot, and I would almost say probably about half of our teenagers that come on Wednesday nights, we don't see them Sunday mornings for whatever reason. Their parents can't get them here, or they've got other obligations, or whatever. And so it's my desire for us to get to a place where instead of this and them just coming on Wednesday night, and that's kind of what they do on a Wednesday night, we all know that there's a difference. There's a difference than when you show up on a Wednesday night, or when you show up at church, and when you consider that church your family that you get involved in, right? Completely different, right? So we're going to start something like I called it Eco-Communities, and it's basically Echo Communities, and it's a way to get our teenagers, especially with all these other new teenagers coming in, a way to still continue to do community with one another. They're going to start on January 27th, and one more disclaimer before I forget about this, that while I'm on that subject. I'm going to throw a lot of dates out at you as well. Even if they're free dates, you may say, wow, that's a lot. I don't know if I can even get my teenager to that many events, or what about them being at home or whatever. I would hope that you would feel comfortable. Please pick and choose the things that you want to do and that you want your teenager to do, because when it comes to these things that are free, I'd love to have them, but at the same time, family comes first, right? And if you would much rather have your child at home doing a family luncheon, I support that. I think that's incredible. Part of the reason why I'm doing so many events that are free, yes, I'm doing it for your teenagers because your parents are teens, but I'm also doing it for these teenagers whose parents aren't involved, whose parents really don't care, and they, or if they do care, they don't have the time to really get them here, and truthfully, they've got nowhere else to go. So it's kind of a thing that I'm doing it for them to help them become a part of our family, but at the same time, I don't want me throwing out all these things you sit there and go, man, I'm never going to see my teenager. I just want you to know that if something comes up and you say, hey, we're doing lunch as a family or whatever, I support that, and I promise I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to go up behind your teen and say, oh, you missed out. It was the greatest thing ever, or whatever, and then make them feel bad. They're going to be going, Mom, I missed out on the greatest thing ever because you wanted me to have lunch with the family or whatever. I'm not going to do that. So please just hear my heart and why there's so many things. But anyway, with these Echo Communities, they're going to be twice a month on Sundays from about 2 to 5 o'clock, maybe 6. And we're going to split up into guys and girls. One for the guys, one Sunday a month, we're going to show up and we're going to play basketball. We're going to play basketball, hoop it up for a couple of hours. We're going to feed them while they're there. And then we're going to have one of our youth leaders or one of our key teenagers share their testimony. The third Sunday of the month, or the second Sunday that we do this, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do soccer. Right? And what's cool is we've test run this. We've test run these. We had one day back in October where we invited all the guys to come and play basketball. And then one day in December where we invited all the guys just to come play soccer, just to test run it and see how it does, to see who would show up. And probably the basketball event, we had about 30 plus show up to play basketball with us. And the soccer event, we had over 25. And we had half of the married person's high school soccer team show up and just want to come hang out with us and play soccer with us. And it's great because the teenagers that would never just walk in the front door of church, are all of a sudden just coming because they want to, sports is their outlet. And so it allows us to build relationships with them and do something that they enjoy. And I'll just tell you, I'm not very good at basketball. I'm even worse at soccer. But you know what? I'll show up and I'll play sports with them and hang out with them. If that's their language, and we'll make a day of it and hang out and build community. And then at the end, like I said, we are going to do something because I do want to introduce them to some spiritual things where somebody's sharing their testimony, right? But the girls, on the Sundays, we're going to do the same things. We're going to do things that are important to them. It could be going to one of our youth leaders' house and just having dinner. We're working on a couple of shopping days where they just meet up and go to that Rivers Crossing, just hang out. I've also taught, we can't do this on a Sunday, but I'm also working with Gary Zahowski. We're looking at probably once every other month, having the girls go and getting their hair done, nails done, all that good stuff, and having kind of a spa day at his place. He's being gracious enough, and we're just working out the fine details about how it's going to work out. But again, these are chances for your teenager just to show up and spend time with their friends, have a good time, meet some new people in a safe environment, and again, it's all free. Our Hephzibah home, we do this once a month, starting on January 20th, and we actually go to the Hephzibah home that's right off of Zebulon Road. We spend time with their teenagers, we outreach with them, and it's phenomenal. It's rarely just an outreach, and we've built a partnership with them. And so we go with them once a month, and the guys go off, play basketball, do whatever with the guys, and the girls go off. And what's great is that a lot of these teenagers that are at the Hephzibah home are there for one of two reasons. Well, a couple of reasons. One, either they were a part of the foster care, that part of that system, and they got pregnant. When that happens, the foster care, the state system or whatever, kind of drops them, and they got nowhere to go. The Hephzibah home takes them in. Kind of on a sad note as well, is that some of those teenagers that are there as well, especially some of the girls, are there because they've been freed from sex trafficking. And it's amazing. We actually go, and it's in a safe environment. Youth leaders are there and everything else, but we just spend time loving on them. But that's one of the outreaches that we do, and we do that once a month. We also have on January 20th as well what's called our Illuminate service. And let me tell you what that is different from outside of our normal Wednesday night service. It's my desire, if anybody has been to our services on Wednesday night, we do a lot of incredible things. We do have the elements of worship. We do have the elements of what we call huddles, where it's broken up by age groups, and basically there's small groups that discuss kind of the message, and we try to do a relevant message and everything else. The truth is that we've got so many teenagers that are coming in that are just learning the basics, and they're just checking God out. And yes, they're getting stuff out of it and everything else, but they're checking God out. And so our Wednesday nights are very evangelistic. It's a lot of my messages that I end up preaching are more God loves you, God cares for you, God longs to be a father figure in your life. I mean, all those things which are so important to our teenagers. Because again, we've got a lot of teens that come that we may never see again on a Sunday morning. Our Illuminate service is a service, what I like to say, a service for the Christian believers. It's for our teenage believers who are already seeking more in their life. And it's going to be once a month here at the church. We are going to begin to basically they're going to come in and we're going to do a couple things that Christ told us to do. We're probably going to spend a couple of minutes reading, just really digging into God's Word. We're going to do extended worship, where instead of it maybe being like 3 songs, right? We're maybe doing 4 or 5 songs, extended worship, right? And the only way I know how to put it is if you were in worship today, or even if you were in worship last week. It's incredible when you're in a worship service and you can really just feel God's Spirit moving. And our teenagers are hungry for that. We're going to do that. We're going to give them an opportunity to share their testimonies, right? Because Christ said, where the Bible says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And then we're going to take communion together. That's one of Christ's commandments, other than water baptism, that he asks us to do. We're just going to take communion together to teach that element. And what this is designed to do is, instead of it being a one where a service where we've got our programs that we're going to do and kind of more structured, we're really just going to let the teenagers come and really just take their time and worship with God. I think it's important. We're going to do it once a month, starting January the 20th. And yes, Hephzibah home, basically what we'll do is we'll go to Hephzibah home, come back, and then the teenagers that want to, it's going to be from 6 to 8. The teenagers that would wish to stay or whatever, they're going to be invited to go to our Illuminate service. The last thing, we're starting iChurch. One of the things that we've done it about 3 or 4 times in Echo, is we do what's called an interactive service. And basically what an interactive service is the teenagers, they come in with their, we promoted the teenagers come in with their iPads, cell phones, whatever, and I say, this is the one service where you get to use this stuff. It's cool. Well, there's an email address that they can either text or log into, and I've got a moderator there that has my iPad that's logged into that email address. Well, I tell the teenagers, anytime you want to interrupt my service, anytime you want to interrupt my message or whatever, you can if you have a question, right? And it's great because they actually are able to interrupt my message. And the last time we did it, the first time we did it, Kim and I did it for a Valentine's kind of week. We just talked about relationships. And it went so well. There were so many questions. We had to extend it another week. The last time we did it back in October or whatever, I did one. Literally, I get up to speak, and before I can open my mouth to start talking, all of a sudden my moderator goes, Drew, we've already got a question. So-and-so, well, they don't name names, but it was, I've got a teenager who says I'm being bullied at school. What's the Christian way to handle that? And literally for an hour and a half, about an hour, I get rapid fired. I mean, it's everything. I mean, what does God say about this? What does God say about that? And I kind of get put on the spot, right? And I'm sitting there praying, please let me say something worthwhile, God. But it's incredible for them because they get to ask their questions in a way that's important to them. Well, we're going to do some of the same stuff, but we're going to do what's called an iChurch. And this is going to be starting January 26th. We're going to take one Saturday night a month, and we're going to connect through what's a program called UVU. And you're like, what VU? Right? UVU is basically a chat. Basically it's kind of like Skype, but you can have multiple people in it. Initially, all it will allow me to do is 12 people. So it's going to be me and 11 teenagers. It's going to be a Saturday night at 9 o'clock because most of our teens who have church the next morning, most of them are going to be at home. They're not going to be out. They're going to be at home at some point around 9 o'clock. So we're just going to try this time. But really what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chance. They're going to log in with me. And then we're going to have an interactive Bible study. You don't have to go anywhere. You can log in from the comfort of your own home. And I'm literally going to do something where I go a little bit deeper. Like we're going to take the book of Ephesians. We're going to start with chapter 1. I'm going to break it down. And then whatever questions you have, you start, hey, speak up. Let me know or whatever. And again, depending on how well it goes, we may do more. Some of this stuff I'm prayerfully attempting, and we'll see how it takes off. We may look up. I may look up after the first one, and 12 people wasn't enough. I mean, I've got 30 teens that want to do it. We may extend it to twice a month, and maybe 3 times a month. But the goal is that I'm meeting them where they're at through a technology that's comfortable with them and speaking their language, but we're still getting across the foundations of the gospel. We're still talking about the Bible, and we're still extending those conversations. So those are free things that will not cost a dime. In the month of, we're actually starting this month, run for all spring. And we just want to do something where we can spend time with your teenagers and excited about it. So with this particular thing, what questions do you have? For the
part of the, I guess it was iChurch where you said they would be able to ask you questions while you're speaking. For any bad cell service or whatever, do you have wireless down there for them to use?
Wireless down here at the church?
I guess down there where they're, where you're speaking at and where they're doing that.
The iChurch will be done from home. So I'll be home, and then all the teenagers will be home. Okay. So it's not anything that they have to go through. But if they were to ever be here, if they didn't have cell phone service and you wanted to get them here, the church has they have a free internet. It's Linksys connection. You can even get on it now if you wanted to. Good question.
You said the Echo Community were twice a month, and what was the time? Was it 2 to 5?
2 to 5. It may be 2 to 6, actually.
Okay, and so eat lunch on your own and come.
Eat lunch on your own, come back, and then we'll be the one to serve you.
Oh.
Anything else? Any other questions? Alrighty. So let's move to the spring paid events. So what's really cool is that and again, this was our desire not to do any huge things, but for the entire spring total, if your teenager is not a senior, for the entire spring total, you're looking at $75. If your teenager is a graduating senior, you're looking at $125. That's it for the entire spring. So March 1st, we're going to have a Battle of the Bands / lock-in here at the church. It's going to be $25 for tickets, and then whatever money that they want to bring to get snacks or food or whatever. We already got 2 headliners, and again, now that I'm back from my break, this is one of my first things I've got to tackle and continue with some more details. There will be a website up and everything else. I'll get into those pretty soon. But we've already landed KJ52 and Devin Williams. They're going to come a headline. We've got 12 bands, 12 slots that we're going to fill up with just local bands. They're going to pay a $50 entrance fee. And then whoever wins, we've got judges. It's going to be, all the Battle of the Bands, everything else. They're going to come in and play 2 songs. And then our judges are going to judge. And then whoever wins is going to get the pot of money from the entrance fees. They're going to be able to go and record in a professional recording studio one of their songs. And then they're going to actually get to open and do an extended set for Devin Williams and KJ52. So and then that part will end at midnight, and then the teenagers at no additional charge will be here and they'll stay. And we'll do lock-ins stuff. We'll do basketball, soccer, football, a little bit of everything else. To let you know, and again, we'll go in. I'll get into details as it gets closer. This will be this will be open to the community. However, we have hired police officers and everything else to make sure that it's a safe environment. Other youth groups are coming. Everything else. For our spring breaks, Jones County, Bibb County, and Monroe County, their spring breaks all are a week apart. And so what we're doing is to give our teenagers a chance during their spring break to actually serve others and to do something good. On 3/25, all these are Mondays, 3/25, April 1st, and April 8th. All those are Mondays. We're invited any teenager who wants to join us. We're going to do spring break at Safe House. Safe House Ministries is if you've never heard anything or done anything with an incredible ministry. It's a homeless outreach. Up in Atlanta. They've been doing it for about 30 years, getting Joe, and I've partnered with him a couple times. Once with another church, and the last time when we went to our Forward conference last summer, we went and did some stuff with him. It's just an incredible ministry. The guy's been doing it for forever. So we're inviting any teenager on their spring break who wishes to come with us. We're going to go up there on that Monday. We're going to do mission. We're going to do mission work with them. We're going to do dinners for the homeless. Some may be inside, some may be outside. Obviously, it'll be very well chaperoned, and we're just going to love on the homeless and help them. And some of it may be us painting their facilities. Everything else, we're going to spend the night there. They have the ability for us to spend the night, and then we're going to wake up the next morning. And we're going to do a pancake breakfast, which is what we did last time when we brought the teenagers out for the homeless. And it's incredible because, and what's great about it is that our teenagers end up getting more blessed than the homeless people that come. Last time that we went, it was just incredible. Just some of the pictures and memories that we took is great, and Joe's great. So we'll have lunch, and then afterwards, we are looking to go to Sky Zone, just for something fun. If you don't know what Sky Zone is, Leah Hersey does. And basically it's a place, it's one big trampoline. Everywhere you go, it's trampoline, and so you can do all this stuff where they've got a basketball court with nothing but trampolines, so you can go and you can like dunk, and they've got a 3D dodgeball. You're on trampolines, but if you throw it to the side, it bounces off and hits somebody else. I mean, and it's just something fun, and so we'll be back that Tuesday afternoon, but they'll have a lot of fun. $50 for the entire trip, and that includes lodging, that includes meals while you're at Safe House. And that includes your tickets as well. Obviously, the only money is just for maybe a hamburger on the way up, hamburger on the way back. And then for our seniors, May 16th through May 19th, we're going to take our senior trip. We're going to go down to Daytona, and we are going to really just spend time with them. It's an incredibly important time in their life as they begin to graduate. And we're going to spend those nights. We're going to leave on a Thursday night. Yes, we're going to ask them to skip school Friday, which to a graduating senior, I don't think they'll have too much problem with that. Saturday, and then we'll come back Sunday, and really we're just going to hang out. We're going to love on them, spend some time with them, celebrate with them, beach it up, hang out, all that good stuff. $50 includes meals. That also includes lodging. The only thing that we will ask is that obviously they'll bring money for a meal on the way up, for a meal on the way down, and then maybe one meal we're going to try to go out and do something nice, like one dinner out. But all the other meals will be covered. Rita Beachy is going to do all of our meals and stuff. So those are our paid events. And again, if you're a senior, if you're a graduating senior, you're looking at $125 for everything. If you're not a graduating senior, you're looking at $75 for everything. So a lot going on in the spring. Excited about it. But with these paid events, let me stop here and ask, what questions do you have? Yes?
On the spring break at the Safe House, is that just an overnight trip?
It is.
Okay.
We'll leave on a Monday afternoon, come back on a Tuesday afternoon. And again, it all depends on which spring break your teenager falls on, but we've done 3 weeks in a row.
We're going to keep the same way we sign up on the internet.
Yes, sir. And I'll cover registration a little bit at the end. Absolutely. Anything else? All right. Let's get into our summer events. Woohoo! First thing, obviously, we've got 3 big summer events: Beach Camp, Forward Conference, and we're going to do a mission trip. We're going to do a local mission trip, Rescue Columbus. Let's talk about Beach Camp. This is our signature event of the year. And we enjoy it. This is our picture last year. Our teenagers look for it every year. It was a tradition that had been taking place for a long time, even before I ever got here. I show up last December, and the first question out of teenagers' mouth is, "Are we going to do beach camp?" And sure. So yes, because I'm not going to disappoint you right now. You know, I've got Pastor John in my ear. He said, "Hey, Drew, change whatever you need to change. Do whatever you want to do." And I got teenagers, "Please tell me to do a beach camp." Right? So, but we did it last year, and we loved it. And it's something that, you know, I love it. There's nothing like it. So we're doing this year, 2013. Some of the key dates. So here's the main overview. Dates, June 5th through 9th. Arrive on a Wednesday. Leave home on a Sunday morning. We're going to do 5 days and 4 nights this year, and I'll get into a little bit about why we're adding a 4th night to it. Cost $249. Churches involved: Christ Chapel Warner Robins, us, and Christ Chapel Zebulon is going to go with us this year as well. So we're looking at about 150, 200 people going. Last year we had a little about 120. So really, really excited. I know Kelly Kitchens and Kevin Eakins are both excited. They're youth pastors of those churches. They're excited. They're really good. So the first thing, why $249? Again, we went last year. Last year we went for 3 nights at $189. And the primary reason that we're going for that 4th night is when we got back from that 3-night, 4-day trip last year, the primary thing that that we heard from our leaders, teenagers, and even parents was the overall feedback of it wasn't long enough. That by the time we got down there with the teens, and they took about 24 hours to settle in, get to know everything, get into routine and everything else, by the time we settled in, we only had 1 more day left. And I can't tell you on that last night when we were sitting there going, I looked at my wife and I said, if we only had 1 more day. It was incredible. We built community, but we still were like, man, if we just had 1 more day to build more. You know, a lot of our teens came, again, who they were just kind of checking out God, and three sessions of worship and everything else, they were just finally that last session getting to the point where their resistance was down, they were beginning to enter into worship and everything else, and then it was, all right, time to go, you know, and just for 1 more night for those spiritual purposes, everything else. And really, in short, it just felt like 3 nights was more like a retreat than a camp. And a 3-night retreat for $189 ain't worth it. So I told our leaders and got feedback from them and everybody else that if we were going to go, we were going to go and really do it, make it to a camp, and that's what we did. So let's talk about some of the details that we do know with the key camp locations, right? So first of all, where we're staying, we're changing it up. Last year we stayed at Tidewater, great place. We found another place that even nicer than Tidewater, but offering it to us a little bit cheaper. It's called the Grand Panama Beach Resort. It's right off Front Beach Road. We have access to their rooms, pools, beach, front property, and conference rooms. Incredible place. Kim, my wonderful wife, kind of worked out a deal with us in September where we pretty much, Kim told us, said, hey, we're going to throw a lot of business your way, but in return, I would like for my husband and I to come and check it out first, and we stay for free. And they said, yes. And so we actually went and toured the place. It is first class, phenomenal. Let me show you some pictures of it. That's it from the ocean view, Grand Panama pics. That's the one main pool area, which is phenomenal. And then we've got more pics of the pool and hot tubs and beach and everything else. And then what's great about this place, too, is that the majority of where our condos are going to be on this side. And before that sounds like a bummer, you're like, oh man, no, I'm not going to be on the beach side. If you notice here, and every room has a balcony in it, if you notice here, this balcony, this is where Kim and I stayed, is tilted outwards. So instead of going out the balcony and your view is the back of this building, you actually get an even incredible view of the beach, of the strip, and everything else. And Kim and I stayed there, and it was, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's really, really cool. First class. Condo arrangements, again, if you don't have a teenager who went with us last year, the great thing about it is that it's fully furnished. They're not having to bring linens. They're not having to do anything. No need to bring linens. And each condo will hold 8 people. What we're going to do is we're going to put 2 adults and 6 teenagers in each condo. And the reason why is that some of the adults end up being for, we call them condo captains. And they lead small groups. They do all those things. So basically everything that happens big does small with them, but then we're adding an extra adult in there. That way in the morning, if a couple of teens in a condo say, hey, I want to go out to the beach, and a couple of teens say, no, I don't, I want to stay here. Well, one adult can go with them, and one adult can stay in, so that way everybody's chaperoned and not just wandering around. So also with our condo arrangements, again, everyone has a beach view. Again, in case this question comes up, the teenagers, yes, they'll be sharing a bed or a bunk or whatever. The adults, the great thing about this place is that the youth leaders, in each room, there are actually bunks, individual bunks for the youth leaders, so that way there's, again, I'd rather go ahead and just cover this question. That way there's never just the moment where an adult is in the same bed as a teenager sleeping or whatever. That never happens. They've got their own individual bunks, and so that way everything is above reproach. All right, church location. They still didn't have a conference room that could fit that many people, so we're going to have it at the Beach Vineyard Church. This place looks like a dump from the outside. It literally does. It looked like, Kim and I wanted to, it looks like a blown up circus tent, and it does, and you know, I almost expected horses and everything else just to kind of walk out of it, and it didn't. We went and saw it, but on the inside it's incredible. It's got a really nice sanctuary that will seat about 250 people. It also has a kitchen there where we'll do our meals, and it's got a full stage, and the pastor there is a guy named Pastor Joe. He's so nice and just willing. He's given free access to it and everything else, and so we're going to do our main sessions at night there. And the cool part is that it's only about 4 minutes away from the resort, so it's not far at all, and it's something that we'll just hop in our vans and everything else, head to church, and for our late night sessions. All right, so what's included for $249? And these are all pictures from last year too, and if you don't know, they're spelling YOLO, Y-O-L-O, which stands for you only live once. So now you know some teenage lingo, and you can use it to your advantage. So again, what's included for that $249 is lodging for 4 nights at the Grand Panama Resort, 4 sessions at the Vineyard Church, all meals once students arrive at camp, Beach Camp 2013 t-shirt, devotional book, sunglasses, water bottle, and travel bag, all late night activities, all afternoon free time activities, and all media videos and pictures. So basically, once they get down there, they're not asking for anything. Now, if they want to bring a couple extra bucks, spending money or whatever, sure, but they don't have to. I mean, literally, you could go, and we're going to feed them, and we're going to make sure they have a good time, everything else. So again, meals, we do breakfasts in the condos themselves. We're going to do lunches out of the beach, and then dinners will be served at the church. And then again, we've got the wonderful talents of Rita Beachy, and she's going to make it happen. She's awesome. First late night activity is, again, if you can kind of see right here, this pool right there, and off to the side is a little tiki bar as well. They're going to give us access to all that for the first late night. We're going to do a beach opening sunset pool party. Chad Lloyd's going to come out and be our DJ. We're going to have games, ice cream, all that stuff, and it's going to be really, really fun. Again, it's all included. Late night activity at number 2. This is what's called Miracle Strip at Pier Park. But all these rides, basically, we're going to show up. They're going to give us a band, and your teenager and us, we're going to get unlimited rides. So kind of hang out's going to be a late night thing, just something fun for them to do, make memories. Late night activity number 3 is that we're going to have at the church an indoor concert. We've got a couple of bands that are, at least one, maybe a second one that's going to come with us. And the great thing about this is that this is going to give us a buffer in case we get rained. So, you know, if open at night, it's going to rain or whatever, we'll move this to the open at night and then do the pool party next day and so forth and so forth. So it gives us kind of those options. And then late night number 4, those are the only way I know to describe is we give the teenagers an opportunity to pour into our youth leaders, and it's phenomenal. All right, afternoon free time activities. We tried this out last year, and it was wildly successful beyond our dreams. But in the afternoons, there's about a maybe 3.5 hour chunk of time where we're done with morning devotionals. It's not quite time ready to get ready to go to church that night, for service that night, so we've got just free time. We made the decision, instead of trying to do again, nothing against this, right? So if you're one of these people, hey, more power to you. But instead of doing the whole, let's break up into 4 teams and let's go out and do a sandcastle building competition, and and then when you do it, you got half the teenagers that are really engaged because they're about to get 100,000 points, and the other half of the teenagers are going, I just want to hang out. They're not really engaged in it or whatever. What we do instead, and we did this last year, it was wildly successful, is we gave teenagers the option to do what they wanted to do. And we set up 3 zones. There's a beach zone where they can ride waves, play volleyball, build sandcastles, whatever. Pool zone, right, for swimming, soaking up the sun or whatever. And we also had an indoor zone, play card games, board games, maybe if a teenager got a little bit sunburn or whatever. So in each of these zones, there were youth leaders always there, so it was always supervised. But the teenagers got to pick what they wanted to do. They loved it. Our leaders loved it. The guys who wanted to play volleyball, beach volleyball for 3 hours, that's what we did. The ones who wanted to go in and play cards, that's what they did. The ones who wanted just to hang out at the pool and make letters out of human forms that we just saw, whatever, that's what they did. And I'll tell you, it was the greatest thing, because instead of us all being stressed about who's doing what and who's having a good time, everybody got what they wanted to do. They had a good time. And our leaders, man, we just built some incredible memories from that. And so the feedback, I did not hear one negative thing about the free time, so that's what we're going to do again. All right, media and pictures. This year we are going to bring a film crew down with us. It's going to be Garrett Beachy, who, if any of y'all saw the wonderful work he did on our Gangnam Style intro video for the Echo Awards, that he did that. Chad Lloyd, Lance Foster, kind of that crew, and really they're going to go down and just film those memories. They're going to do challenges. They're going to do fun stuff. All this stuff's going to be posted, everything else. So that way, when beach camp's over, we've got all these memories that are going to be taken with us. So excited. All right, and then growing in God. So leading worship. If you were here for the Echoes, or if you've been here church for a while, Jimmy Farrell is going to come and lead worship for us, and he is absolutely phenomenal. Really excited about having him and what he's going to bring. And he's just as equally excited about coming to our beach camp. He did a couple of transition songs for us at the Echo Awards, and came up to us afterwards and said, man, I'm so excited. And we're excited about you, so I'm glad we're equally excited, because we're going to spend a week together at the beach. And he's bringing a team down, and they're going to be leading worship with us for our night stuff. And as far as key speaker, we've got 3 people that we're looking at, and we will know probably by the end of January who our key speaker is going to be. Small groups, again, late night and in the morning, just to make sure that the message is being broken down by age, and that people have a chance to speak up and everything else. We do small groups in the condos. So each one's going to have a condo leader. They'll have late night condo time where they can extend ministry, everything else, to make sure that, that the teenagers are supported. And leaders needed, we're good for that. Christ Chapel Beach Camp. So let me ask you that. Before I move on, that was a big one. What questions do you have? That's a big one. A lot of information.
Why'd you skip leaders needed?
Let me say, if you would like to go with us, the only thing that I ask is that, here's the only thing I ask, because I did the same presentation in front of our youth leaders. If you would like to go with us, you're more than welcome to. All I ask is that you come and kind of let me know, and let's get involved a little bit beforehand, because what I try to do, nothing on y'all. You're all the good people. I like you. You're the ones that are involved in your teenagers' lives. You're great. What'll happen is, inevitably, something like this, I'll have 1 or 2 people that I have no clue who they are. They have no clue who they are. They just show up and they see that we're doing something cool, and they want to do something cool, and so they come up to me and they say, hey, can I go and be a leader? And my answer is, no. And the only reason why is it's not that I don't want them to get involved or anything else. It's because I don't know them. And if I don't know them, there ain't no way I'm bringing them around your teenagers. Right? Okay? So with that, if you would like to come in and help a beach camp, come let me know now. Right? Let me know now. We'll go ahead and get a background check on file. We'll just build a relationship and everything else. So that way with integrity, I can look with those people, because I don't necessarily just say no to them. What I do is I say, hey, we're full on our leaders right now, and so we really don't have anybody else that we could take or whatever, but thank you so much. But if you would like to get involved with us in the future, come talk to me. And then it's funny, I never see these people again. It's amazing. I don't know. But if you would like to, and here's what we need. We do need condo leaders to help lead devotionals and small groups. We need people just do practical stuff, such as set up, tear down people. Free time zone leaders help watch zones and prayer intercessors. We are bringing a team of people that are going to pray over services, everything else, right? If you would like to do any of this, just let me know. Now, just because you come to me and say, hey, I would like to get involved with these things, that does not stick you to helping us out on Wednesday nights. I've got so many leaders that love teenagers. They love what they do, but I don't see them on Wednesday nights. But they would consider what they do part of Echo, you know, and they help out on big events, and that's what we need. So if you would like to do any of these things, come see me. We'll put you to work. I mean, you know, and it's great. And what we're doing too for the leaders, if you would like to come with us, leaders, you only pay $50. That's it. You know, just for our leaders. Now, you can. I mean, nothing's a secret, but don't just go blabbering in or whatever. But Christ Chapel, Warner Robins, their leaders, and Christ Chapel Zebulon, they're not paying $50. You know, that's one of those things that with us kind of taking the brunt of what's going on or whatever, I just opted in for our leaders to go and pay $50. So that includes everything. So again, if you'd like to, and that's a great question. Come on.
Drew, it sounds like the ratio works out probably 1 leader for every 2 kids. Is that about right?
Last year, maybe how many people did we take with
We
us?
got 2 per 6, so it's about 1 to 3, but then we also take a few condos of just leaders.
Yeah.
They kind of facilitate different areas.
It ends up being about that.
1 to 2, 1 to 3.
Yeah, and Christ Chapel Warner Robins and Christ Chapel Zebulon, they may put only 1 leader in theirs or whatever, so it may end up being total camp about 1 to 4, and that's a good thing because we're going out of state. And we're going out of state with your kids, and I want to make sure that we're covered and everything else. Yep.
We also put, last year, when it was this year, security bands on them that like identify like who
Yep.
they're with for our sake. So then if we saw other people in other groups, we know, and there also is like 24-hour security on property. So your student has to be banded so strangers can't get in and out and that type of thing also from property. Strangers that are not registered guests on property can't come on and, you know, that type of thing. So.
Cool.
Any other questions? All right. So very briefly, we'll move on, and we'll have a, right before the, almost before the summer ends, or the summer begins, we'll have another meeting where we strictly just discuss these 3 things, and we'll go into even more details. The Forward Conference, June 27th and 29th, $99 a student is going to include tickets, hotels, and breakfast. And where the Forward Conference is different from Beach Camp, where Beach Camp is smaller, community-based, everything else. Forward Conference, for those of you who don't know, Jensen Franklin puts it on. It's at the Gwinnett Arena. And that's the one where you show up and there's you worshiping with about 15,000 other teenagers. They're bringing some incredible people. This year, Jensen Franklin speaking, Reggie Dabbs, top-notch speakers. They're bringing Lecrae's going to be there. They're going to bring Hillsong United is going to lead worship for them one session. Last year they had Third Day. I don't know if they'll have them this year. But last year they had Third Day. Chris Tomlin. I mean, they're still kind of adding to their list as they go, but that's the one. That's just the huge conference that you go to, and it's just the big names, heavy hitters. I mean, all that stuff, and it's incredible.